Welcome to Reflections of our former practice in Sangoma. I thought today we should talk about whether or not this is a cult or is it not a cult. And off the bat, I'm going to say 100% a cult. Why? What is a cult? A cult is a group of people who share beliefs or practices that are considered unusual, right? So the first sign that it is a cult is the drinking of the blood. Everybody who has initiated to be a Sangoma has to do one thing, and they all have one thing in common. That is the ceremony with the goat. So this is the final ceremony that is performed for you when you have initiated. It is the ceremony that stamps or confirms that in fact you are a Sangoma and you have the calling. It involves the blood of a goat. Now the goat is not even slaughtered, right? What happens is that it is stabbed, and the initiate is to drink the blood of the goat from the animal itself, killing the animal in the process. I know it's disgusting, but it's the truth. Now, my question is, all Sangomas come from all different tribes, right? So we've got Amazulu, we've got Amaxhosa, we've got the Sothos, we've got Batswana, we've got Mapedi. Why is it that all of our ancestors, with all the different languages, with all the different animals that are available to them, they all choose a goat? All of them. There's never been a single Sangoma who has ever gone through that process and used a different animal. Why is that? If we all have different surnames and we are all being called by our different ancestors, why is it that all of our ancestors all choose to use a goat? Right? That's the first thing. The second thing is, why are we going to large bodies of water in the middle of the night? What is happening in the middle of the night? Why is it that whenever we are going to the ocean, the first thing that is said is, you need to hurry up, you need to do whatever it is that you need to do because the sun cannot rise while we are still here. So those of you who don't know, let me tell you what happens. So you may have a dream of a particular ancestor showing you that you need to go to the ocean to go perform or appease them, right? You will go with your gobela or your spiritual leader. When we get there, first of all, we dig a hole in the sand because there's a lot of wind at the ocean, right? So in order for the candle not to be burnt out, we dig a hole and we put the candle inside the hole. But in the hole, there's other things. There's herbs, there's muti. We raise spells. We conjure up these spirits from the ocean. They come up. We perform whatever ritual that they said you must perform. So if you need to go into the water, that's what you're going to do. When we are done, we close the hole up and we leave. Everything that we were using is still in the ground, right? And the sun cannot be up when we're doing these things. If you are not done doing whatever it is that you were supposed to do, when the sun starts coming up, you need to leave it. We need to go because you cannot do it while the sun is shining. Why is that? There's a veil of secrecy that is attached to each and every single thing that we do. The first thing that you are taught when you go into initiation, and the last thing you are taught when they send you home, is that we do not want to appear on the social medias. You do not talk our business with people who have not initiated. Whatever it is that you do here is your business. You don't tell your mother, you don't tell your husband, you don't tell your children, you don't tell your friends. Anybody who is a sang, who is not a sangoma, you do not discuss whatever it is that was done here. Why? To the point of some gobelas or some leaders, if your family members are visiting you while you are being initiated, they will sit there the entire time. They will not give you privacy with your family members. Why is that? So that they can ensure that you are not discussing whatever it is that is happening there with your family members. That's why there is a veil of secrecy that surrounds each and every single ceremony, each and every single process. Um, Everybody knows that you are not to discuss things with other people, they will even come and they'll tell you, don't share your dreams with the other initiates. Why is there such a vein of secret? Guys, if what we are doing, right, we are honoring our ancestors and we are going back to our roots, why is it a secret? Why would it be a secret? Like, if I am honoring my roots, so if I am the chosen one in my family and my ancestors have chosen me to lead us back to our roots, why is it that when I get home, I am not to discuss the very thing with my family members, but yet I'm supposed to lead them back to our roots, but I am not to discuss, nor am I to tell them what exactly it is that I learned when I was learning to go back to our roots? That doesn't even make sense. If you believe that it is your ancestors that are calling you, okay, it's your ancestors that are calling you and they're leading you back to your roots, they're teaching us forgotten practices. When you get home, you are not to tell anyone what is going on there. Why? Because the whole purpose and the whole intention of being called by your ancestors back to your roots would be to educate your family, would be for your family to then know these things. So then you would be tasked with teaching them. So if the leaders are informing you not to discuss the information that you are revealing there with anyone else apart from anyone else who's also a Sangoma, is that not suspicious? Is that not suspicious? Why is it that we go to the ocean at night? The reason why we go to the ocean at night is because it is not your ancestors that are calling you to the bodies of water. That's why. The reason why you go there at night is so that you do not actually see what comes out of the water when you are performing those rituals. Mhm. Because the initiates would run away if they actually saw what was happening. This is why I also left, because I had initiated and I had been practicing. And I was at a stage where the truth needed to be revealed to me because of the type of dreams that I was having, right? I kept on going to my Gwabela or my spiritual leader, and I kept on explaining to him that I'm having these types of dreams. And those dreams to him indicated that I needed to be told the truth. In one particular dream, I'll tell you, he had summoned me to his house. When I walked in through the gate, all of a sudden, the entire building and everyone else that was in the yard was underneath water, myself included, but this is in a dream. And then I enter the room to see him. And when I enter the room to see him, he has a tail instead of legs. And I'm so distracted by this, right? In the dream, that I'm not even hearing what it is that he's saying to me. I keep looking at him and I keep looking at myself, but I have legs, but he has a tail. And everyone else has legs, but he has a tail, and we are underwater. He hands me something. I don't even know what it was, but I woke up from the dream. A couple of nights later, I have the same dream, a similar dream, where I arrive at his home and he's underwater and he has a tail for legs, and I still have legs. Then he says to me, he hands me a golden crown, but it's small, right? It can fit in the palm of my hand. Hands me a golden crown. And he says to me, but what if my ancestors have said about this? And I said, I haven't heard anything about this golden crown. I know nothing about it. However, let me go home and let me pray and speak to the ancestors. And then I will revert back to you after 3 days with a response from them. So I go home, but this is still in the dream. I pray, I speak to the ancestors. I don't hear her. No response. So I go back to his house, and as soon as I enter the gate, we are underwater. I then enter the room again, and before I could even say to him, listen, my people have not said anything about this. Shots are fired from behind me. He gets shot in the dream. So obviously, I then wake up. I'm freaking out. Now I'm freaking out in the dream. So I tell him, I inform him that, listen, I keep having this dream. And the last time I had the dream, you got shot in the dream. Okay. I never went back to see him afterwards, and I'll tell you why. Because I then started having dreams about the marine creature, a mermaid, but a man, appearing to me and saying to me, no, 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 your Gobela works for me. And you are under your Gobela. So you are at a stage now where we need to elevate you. And when we elevate you, we have to tell you the truth about what is actually going on. And it's not your ancestors. We appear in the image of your ancestors. So what would have happened is a great grandmother or a great grandfather would have taken an umbilical cord, and buried it to the ground and committed myself or people who are going through this to the spirits of the dead, invoking a monitoring spirit. The monitoring spirit would have followed you throughout your entire life, would have watched you, and all of these things. And when they come knocking or calling you, it's because they know everything about your life. They've been attending the family rituals. They know the family surnames. They know the rituals that you guys perform. They know who you call everybody. They know all of these things about you. And therefore, they appear in the image of a relative and are able to relate family stories to you because they've been following you. Not only you, they've also been following everybody else, because if your umbilical cord is being dug up in the ground or any form of ritual is being performed like that after you have been given birth to, it means your family has been dedicating people to the spirits of the dead unknowingly. Because when you ask the old people, why do you guys do this? The only thing that they respond is, well, this has been done since the day we were born, and we didn't ask questions, so you shouldn't ask questions. But that's what's actually happening. So this thing then reveals all of this to me, and I'm like, no, I'm not playing this game. You guys recruited me under the guise of a lie. I have been doing all of these things because of a lie. I drank the blood of a goat because you people misled me. I am not playing this game. And I lost my mind in the dream. And this thing held my hand. It was my right hand and choked me like an electric shock. And I woke up. And for 3 days straight, I had a headache that wouldn't go away. And every time I slept, I would dream of my Gobela losing his mind, admonishing me that I need to come to the party. I must grow up. This is the way things are done, and this is the way that I'm gonna do it. And I don't really have a choice in the matter. And I was like, well, I'm not doing it. And I woke up from one of those dreams one day and I decided, you know what? I'm gonna throw everything away. So I packed everything away. I put everything in my car. I went to the river and I literally threw everything in the river. I mean, the beads. I took everything off of my neck, the beads, the cloths, like everything, the bones, impebo, the sniff, everything, the crystals, the tarot cards, because like I'm saying, I was quite high in the grand scheme of things. I was a practice in Sangoma. I had recurring clients. I had, I was a big deal. Even my Gobela, when he had initiates, he would call me to come and assist him. So I was a big deal. And I still didn't know what was going on. And I was like, nope, not doing that. Right? So yes, guys, it's like let me give you another example. When they tell you ukuthi the bags or ikwama, where you must go and fetch your bags or ikwama. Have you ever noticed that inside those things, when you go and collect ikwama zako, you never ever gain knowledge about how to manipulate the stock market, how to study the stock market, how to invest. You never ever ever get knowledge about gold, a house, money, investments, nothing. It is always some sinister thing like itokolosi, monitoring spirit, or abalozi, which is another monitoring spirit, or the dwarfs. It's always something that is sinister. It's never ever ever a positive thing. It's always something that is sinister. It is always something that you can never reveal to other people. It is always something that must always be kept a secret. Why is that? Do you really, really, really think that your great grandfather was preoccupied with wanting to know what the next door neighbor was doing? And I mean, the next door neighbor was not necessarily next to him, he lived kilometers and kilometers away. Do you really think that those people were preoccupied with those things? Those people had primary problems that they needed food to eat. They didn't have water close by. They needed to hunt the animal, preserve the meat, and eat it. They were worried about being hunted by wild animals. Do you really, really think that your grandfather was busy employing the assistance of a bird to go and spy? Can we please just wake up? Can we please just wake up? This thing is a cult. It's a cult. It's a cult. And those of you who are consulting Sangomas and going to seek the assistance of Sangoma, here's my question to you. Whenever you go to the Sangoma and the Sangoma performs whatever ritual or gives you muti or gives you iwasho to go and use at home, the problem that you went to go and see him or her about gets solved. But 2 or 3 months later, you incur another problem, right? Give you an example. So you come to see a Sangoma because there is a post that has been advertised at work and you want this post and you apply for the job and you perform the rituals, you use the muti and you get the job. What have you done? You have now gone and altered your destiny and you've altered someone else's destiny, the person who was actually supposed to get the position, right? 2 or 3 months later, you start earning this big salary, right? You start earning this big salary. But every time you move forward, you take 10 steps back. You plan to renovate the house. You buy the material, but the material gets stolen. You buy other material, then they find worms in the sand, like the sand was not treated. Then you come and you see the Sangoma because you believe that somebody is bewitching you. What you don't know is you've opened a revolving door to problems. Why? Because if I give you Mutu to solve this problem and you go away and you never come back, how do I make money? I need to give you whatever it is that I give you needs to solve your immediate problem, but also needs to create another problem for you so that you can come back and spend more money. That's what's happening. You don't even know you are a part of a cult, but you are also a part of a cult. Especially those of you who are attached to a particular person because you believe that this person is powerful. You are now part of my circle. You are now part of this whole thing that I don't even know as a Sangoma that I am part of. Is it normal for a person to be driving around with a snake in their car? I mean, is it normal? Is it normal for a person to be posting on social media that they are performing a ceremony with a snake? First of all, where are you getting the snake? Let's start there. Hmm? Where are you getting a snake? To drive around in your car, where are you getting a snake? Guys, please wake up. Stop consulting traditional leaders and sangomas. It is not our culture. Witchcraft is not our culture. Witchcraft was never part of our culture. Our ancestors could not have been practicing witchcraft. They didn't have time because this thing requires you to have a lot of time on your hands. They didn't have time. So, whose culture is it that we are practicing as Sangomas? Who? It is not your culture. It is not your culture. Notice how when you go and you twasa or you initiate at a particular place, they teach you how to vusela. And it's always the same language. Everybody speaks the praises of the ancestors in the same language. Whether you are Sotho, whether you are Tswana, whether you are Tsonga, whether you are Xhosa, all of us use the same praise language. It sounds like Zulu, but it's not. It's a derivative of Sizulu. It's the beginning formations of the Zulu language. It's called Chindawo. And everybody does a song praise speaking Chindawo. The words might be different, but the language is the same. Chindawo. We all do the praise songs in the same way, but we all have different ancestors. Why is it? And it's one of the questions that I was asking because I am a Mosotho, and I was like, but why are my ancestors speaking this language? They were like, no, it's the language of the ancestors. I'm like, the ancestors all speak the same language. How? I know, right? Anyway, thank you for tuning in today. Yeah, I'll see you next time.